Welcome to the PowerPoint Basics series where we discover all the different functions the tool has to offer. Today we are learning how to fragment shapes. Let's start off simple with a rectangle shape. We are going to resize it like we learned in part 2 of this series. It is important to start with an even shape so that the fragments we are creating will be even too. It is also important to remove the outline since it can make the end result look less smooth. Then we are going to add a second shape. This shape will basically be used to cut the rectangle. You can make it as big or small as you would like. You can also get creative and, for example, put a star inside of the rectangle. Before you move on to the next step, make sure that you remove the outline of your cutter shape. To have a better overview when overlaying the shapes, give your cutter shape a different color. Then place the cutter shape on your rectangle. The placement of this shape will determine the fragments. You can also put multiple cutters on one shape. Once you are satisfied with the positioning of everything, select all the shapes with your cursor. Then click on the Shape Format tab. In the upper left toolbar you can find a segment called Merge Shapes. Click on the drop-down and select the option Fragment. All created fragments will automatically take on the color of the upper shapes. Before deleting anything, you can change the color of big fragments to create a better overview for yourself. Then you go about simply deleting any shape that you don't need for your final product. All the fragments now count as individual shapes that you can move around freely. If you want everything to move in unison, you can simply go to the Arrange menu we discovered in part 1 of our series. In the drop-down, click on Group. Everything will now move as a unit. Let's try a more complicated example and insert a circle shape. As explained before, we first have to make sure that the shape is even, and then we have to remove the outline. We now want to cut the circle into 8 pieces, like a cake. For this, we again need to insert a cutter shape. The length of the rectangle has to match the size of the circle exactly. This is important since we are going to rotate the shapes. For this to create even pieces, the circle and the rectangle need to have the same height. You can freely decide on the width of the rectangle. Just remember, the wider you make the rectangle, the bigger the gap between your cake pieces will be. Like in our first example, we are now going to change the color of the cutter shape. Then we make sure to remove the outline. Now we place the slim rectangle at the center of our circle. We are going to copy-paste it 3 more times. In total, we need 4 rectangles. A simple trick on how many rectangles you need is to always divide your number of cake pieces by 2. If you want 4 pieces, you need 2 slim rectangles. If you want 12 pieces, you need 6 slim rectangles. Now that we have determined our number of rectangles, we are going to select all shapes. Like learned in part 1 of this series, we are now going to use the Arrange drop-down to make sure that all the shapes are aligned in the center and in the middle. This step is crucial if you want your final pieces to be even. Once this is done, you can do a right-click on the first rectangle at the center of your circle. In the drop-down, select Size and Position. Underneath of the fields for height and width, which we already discovered together, there is a field called Rotation. We are going to type in 90 degrees. Our first rectangle will move, and we now have a cake with 4 pieces. Then we click on the next rectangle. This time we are going to type in 45 degrees. This will split 2 of our big segments into half. For the final rectangle, we are now going to type in 135 degrees, since we want to go 45 degrees past the 90 line. The 4th rectangle stays just as is. No matter how many pieces you want to create, it is always important to move in even degree increments. If you want to split your circle into 12 pieces, for example, you will need to move in 30-degree increments. Once all of your rectangles are in position, you can select all shapes and go to the Shape Format tab. Like before, we are going to open up the Merge Shapes drop-down and click on Fragment. Again, everything will take on the same color. Like mentioned before, you can adjust some colors for overview if you want. We are going to delete all the pieces of the slim rectangle just like this. If your rectangles are very thin and you have trouble selecting them, you can simply create an area with your cursor to select the shape. Like with our rectangle, all shape fragments are now considered to be a single shape. This not only means that you can move them around individually, but it also means that you can fill in the colors individually. Of course, don't forget to group all of the shapes in the end. This allows you to move them around freely and also adjust the size. If you found this tutorial helpful, give us a follow to not miss any other parts of the PowerPoint Basics series. See you next time.